Is a bucket of water dangerous? No, but if you drop a lump of a highly reactive substance inside, you will see an explosion. You can see a similar relationship between culture and politics. If you carelessly mix them, there is a chance that people will turn radical, placing their own culture above the others. There have been numerous moments in history where a certain group of people gained power and used this power to abuse others, to depress others, just like the Third Reich in Germany. In this video we will discuss politics, parties and politicians who use culture as a tool to gain elective votes, to use it for campaign, to win elections. And you will see examples of certain ideologies and explanations of how they have become so successful, and most importantly, why. Now let's move on to Togo and let's hear Jennifer giving a deeper insight into its cultural and political life.
As many countries in Africa, also Togo is corrupt. After the coup d'etat in 1967, the constitution was abolished, and that's how in 1971 a national council was formed from the Central Committee of the Rassemblement du Peuple Togolais, or the RPT, the Unity Party, which acted as a sort of parliament. A national council was then formed from that. In 1980, Togo got a new constitution, and the parliament got even restored. Even though the RPT was cancelled in 2012, Faure Gnassingbé found a way to still rule, but under a different name, Union pour la République, Union for the Republic, or UNIR. Their main focus was actually the creation of jobs, peace, union, solidarity, and security. But as I said earlier, it was all corrupt. Faure Gnassingbé has been ruling in Togo since 2005 until now, 2022. UNIR is a right-wing party, and their ideology is nationalism. By making promises he did not deliver, a lot of people voted for him, only for him not to deliver those promises, and he also won by forging those votes.
So I'm going to talk about the country where I'm from. I'm from Ghana. Ghana is a multi-party system, but there are two dominant political parties, the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party, with extreme difficulty for anyone to achieve electoral success under the banner of another party. A good example is the new NPP, so the New Patriotic Party. During election season, when a political party's flag bearer has been elected and is campaigning, he or she tries to go to the locals of the people in various communities and regions and try to live in their shoes and study their way of life in order to understand what they want and what they need. So they are motivating people to vote for them, or yeah. So another example is the annual national holiday celebrated on March 6th. It's our Independence Day of the Republic of Ghana. On this day, the president, along with his vice president and first lady, visited. So this is done on a yearly basis, and the inhabitants of Ghana take it very seriously because it's a very important day to us. It allows every Ghanaian to learn more about their own culture and to understand what we've been through and everything. Our country has a peaceful politics, and we respect other countries, their opinions and stuff. Jerry Rawlings seized power in 1979. He maintained his powers until 1992, from 1979 to 1992. After 2 terms of being president, he handed his power over to John Adgekunku in 2000. John is from the Democratic Party. It appeared to be working well because it led to numerous Western institutions such as the World Bank to help the country with economic aid. Foreign companies wanted to help, so that was a good decision to make. So I will be talking about the politics in my country where I live, Belgium. So here we go. Language issues were the state were one of the reasons for this. So after the 2010 elections, the formation of a federal government led by Elio de Ruppel lasted 541 days. In the period of 2019-2020, it led again to 493, so lesser than 2010. Also, according to some Belgian parties, they find that migration is a solution to aging population. Also the labor shortage in certain sectors, but the party of Vlaams Belang, they don't like that idea. The party points out that the influx of more foreigners will be put a greater burden on the social system and increase unemployment.
Flanders and Wallonia have their own political parties, which in some cases are closely related to each other. This applies to the Christian Democrats with the Flemish CD&V, Christian Democratic and Flemish, and the Walloon CDH, Centre Democrate Humanist. To the Social Democrats with the Flemish Vooruit, formerly SPA, and the Walloon PS Parti Socialist. The Liberal Flemish Party is the Open VLD, Open Vlaamse Liberalen en Democraten, and its Walloon counterpart is the MR, Mouvement Réformateur. The Flemish Ecological Party is Groen, is a sister party of the French and German-speaking Ecolo. The Left Socialist Partij van de Arbeid has a French-speaking sister party in PTB, Parti du Travail de Belgique. In Flanders, there are a few specifically Flemish parties, namely the moderate Flemish nationalist Nieuw Vlaamse Alliantie, N-VA, the extreme right Vlaams Belang, and the populist libertarian Lijstdekker, LDD.
Sadly, when it comes to politics, Hungary is not a good example for other countries in the world. It is highly polarized and having a neutral opinion is almost impossible. Unfortunately, Fidesz, the ruling government in Hungary, escalates this division via propaganda overdose for the past 7 years by creating and picking certain targets who mean a huge threat to the nation and who shall be stopped. They do this in a ridiculous, oversimplified way so that the least intelligent people would get the message. On the other hand, the united opposition, consisting of six parties, are also accentuating controversy, but at a much smaller scale. On the 3rd of April, Fidesz had a landslide victory in the 2022 elections, winning 54% of the votes, which is a new high score for them.
Hungary in itself is a highly patriotistic country compared to the rest of the world. We used to be a great nation in the middle of Europe, but for the last 500 years we were losing almost every time. Also, we were under the communist regime from 1947 to 1989, where the Christianity and the nationalism were looked upon and often prosecuted. Since the charges of the political system in 1989, people were filled with hope that they will be free and rich. This charge had its price, resulting in the high inflation and despair. Many people started to feel nostalgic about the fleeting decades of communism where life was stable and mood was good. This era had its own cultural atmosphere, which also a lot more attractive to those who wanted simple lifestyle. From 2000s onwards, there were two super major players in the political spectrum. One was Viktor Orban, current Prime Minister since 2010, and the other was Ferenc, who was ruling Prime Minister between 2004 and 2009.
Viktor Orban became famous in Hungary after his 1989 speech at the Hungarian national holidays, where he talked about a more liberal and democratic way of governing Hungary. He was first elected as Prime Minister in 1998. At the time, he was a very, very young Prime Minister. His main focus was on the children and improving the quality of family life. In 2002, his party lost the elections to the Socialist and Social Democratic Party, and in 2004 they elected Mr. Ferenc as their Prime Minister. His goal was to improve the level at the healthcare and on social services. In 2006, a voice tape was leaked from a secret socialist gathering where Mr. Ferenc said that they have not done anything valuable for the past 4 years and that they are screwed for the next elections. This would later on become the famous speech of Öszöd, and that this has infuriated the general public. The very top of their fury came at the 50th anniversary in 2006 of the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Mr. Gyurcsány was still in power till 2009, though he had to deal with the 2008 financial crisis, which has really weakened his powers. In 2010, the party of Mr. Orbán, Fidesz, and the Christian Democrats have won the election, and from 2011 they were ruling Hungary from a more than two-third majority.
All in all, Orbán is a controversial figure who changed his politics over time. On the one hand, he is very popular because he campaigns with conservatism and Christianity, but on the other hand, many people say that he is a dictator because he used campaign at a very large scale. And the problem with that is many consider this brainwashing. Looking at the pictures you saw previously in this video, there you could see how effective it is convincing the simple people. But what we have in Hungary is actually a predominant system, simply speaking a one-winner party system, where there is a mixture between competitive and non-competitive politics. Also, he is very, very popular among old people. But on the other hand, those who hate Orbán don't love Gyurcsány, because many people agree upon the fact that his era was worse, and despite the 2006 police encroachment, he didn't quit politics, he didn't realize his mistakes, and also he as a person is a tool for Orbán to gather all opposition, because they know that he's successful in fighting and gathering people around him, but he is not very successful being a prime minister. So they don't fear him as a potential candidate for this role. Gyurcsány considers himself as a true European Democrat, and he represents the cultural traditions of Western Europe, and if he would rule this country, it would mean that whatever the EU government says, whatever the EU government say, it will be realized in Hungary as well, despite the fact whether it's against the Hungarian people's interest. So, to sum up, there are three parties in Hungary who use culture as a political tool. These are Fidesz-KDNP, who use nationalism, conservatism and Christianity. The Demokratikus Koalíció, which uses liberalism, Western Europeism and sometimes green politics, but it doesn't pushing it too hard. And Mi Hazánk, the only far-right party in Hungary who just got in the parliament, they are the ones campaigning for irredentism, strong nationalism, Euroscepticism and cultural preservation. Thank you.